Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Bahu, Hare Bahu, Hare Bahu, Hare Bahu. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Hare Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jai Jai Om Vishnupad, Paramahamsa Paradikacharya, also tell us that's a Shimad. His Divine Grace Abhaya Chandana, the Bhaktivedanta Goswami, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Latakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prince Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaid Garadha Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai, Shri Radhakrishna Gopikapanath Sai Mukund Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Vacharadam Ki Jai, Chakarada Swami Ki Jai, Manamai Ki Jai, Srimati Lasi Devi Ki Jai, Savita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, Om Ganat Timiranda Shah Gananjana Slakayat Chakshuram Ninitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. So I'm happy to be here in Croatia after many years. They let me come back. So, I want to hear what people are interested in. What topic would you like to hear? Because I can speak about basically any topic, but I want to make sure that it's something that will resonate with people. So, yeah.
Well, I can maybe suggest, and
Yeah.
Something that interests me is the navigating through devotional service and institution.
That's a big one. Okay. Political correctness. So, okay. We have this institution called the International Society for Christian Consciousness. The acronym, I'll go slowly because some of you, English may not be your first language. The acronym is ISKCON. And this ISKCON, International Society. Oh, you need a microphone. Yeah, that's fine.
Just a moment.
There you
I need to
turn it on. Hare Krishna.
just a moment. And here some just a moment.
Hare Krishna.
No, not yet. Sorry, there was just need to press buttons here.
Okay. I'm not going to get feedback. It's an interesting question, and I'll try to be not too controversial in my answer. Is it on?
No, supposed to be.
We're testing.
Okay. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Oh, that's nice. I got two cameras on me.
YouTube and Facebook.
So, Anyway, so this ISKCON was started by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada in 1966 in New York. Prabhupada arrived in New York in 1965, and basically it took him about a year because he had to struggle with all these people called hippies. Anyone's heard of a hippie before? Yeah. I was probably one of them. Anyway, had long hair, like this. Anyway, beard, everything. And so Prabhupada had to deal with us. And about a year later, Prabhupada just asked everyone, do you want to sign on to a corporation organization? And everyone signed on. Nobody knew what it meant. But Prabhupada had a vision. His vision was basically to do what the Panchatattva wanted. Everyone's heard of the Panchatattva. Panchatattva means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, and Srivas. And these are the 5 aspects of the truth that appeared over 500 years ago. And this Panchatattva had a dilemma. That means a problem. And their problem was that no one really wanted to take up Krishna consciousness because it was too difficult. Krishna's explanation of the Krishna consciousness in the Bhagavad Gita is much too difficult for everybody. The 1866, which basically is surrender, don't do anything, basically give up all other varieties of your mental conceptions, what's called dharma, or things you're supposed to do. And so they saw that everyone in Kali Yuga, this is Kali Yuga, in case you haven't discovered it. Kali Yuga means an age of quarrel. And you see this going on in the world today. I mean, the world's a disaster, basically. And here it's a little peaceful. Right? Yeah, Croatia seems to be peaceful. But then you get into Ukraine, you get into the Middle East, you get into Africa and so many countries, massive starvation, massive problems everywhere. And people are becoming more divided. I don't know if it's like that here, but the country I come from, people are very divided, the conservatives, the liberals, and everything like that. So this Panchatattva saw that it was basically an impossible task to give people Krishna consciousness. So they decided to take away the price list. Previously it was expensive. Just like sometimes you have to run a discount, or sometimes you have, there's this thing called a yard sale, when you're just selling all your stuff, and you sell things for a very cheap price. So they said, well, we have to just, what's called break open the storehouse of love of God. And in order to do that, they needed devotees who were very compassionate. Excuse me. Like you find described. Oh, there's water. That's nice. About devotees, that they're an ocean of mercy, an ocean of compassion. So they needed someone, and basically one of the members of the Panchatattva, named Lord Nityananda, predicted that one day there was going to be what he called a conquering general. The word in Bengali is Senapati. Senapati. There was going to be a conquering general who would spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. And so fast forward, about 500 years, or a little less, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada appeared in 1896. And Srila Prabhupada got that mission from his spiritual master when he was a very young man, in his 20s. And his spiritual master said, basically, you go and preach around the world. And specifically, he said English, because, English is the language most people understand, or a lot of the people understand. So Prabhupada was actually told indirectly by a spiritual master, you are that conquering general. That's interesting. You are the one who meant to do it. And so Prabhupada was thinking how to do it. And he spent many of his years just planning, trying to raise money, like that. And he wasn't able to raise money to do it. So finally, at a very advanced age, very, very advanced age, in 1965, without any money, without any sort of support, he boarded a boat to New York. And not just an ordinary boat, it was a steamship or a freighter. And so he boarded this boat and he came to New York not knowing which way to turn. And he basically ended up, first of all, in a place called Butler, Pennsylvania, and after that he came to New York City and had to deal with all the hippies that I mentioned before. And Prabhupada just had faith in the holy name, faith in the order of his spiritual master. And Prabhupada said that if the spiritual master gives one an order, the success potency of Krishna is contained within that order. So Prabhupada had that faith. Faith is actually really important. You hear, even in the Western world, you hear this, faith can move mountains. I'm sure you heard about that expression before. So Prabhupada had that complete faith in Krishna. Krishna assisted him. Of course, he had many trials and tribulations along there. And gradually people joined him. But basically, they were still a bunch of hippies. And even after they made this constitution for the International Society of Krishna Consciousness, basically everyone was a hippie or not a committed member of the Krishna Consciousness movement. Prabhupada had a vision. So the reason Prabhupada made this organization, you may think, what's the need of an organization? Was that unless there's organization, you can't do things on a larger scale. Unless you have coordination, and obviously some what's called bureaucracy. You've heard of bureaucracy before? You know what bureaucracy, you have a lot of it here. Of course, we don't want to become bureaucrats. It's necessary, but there's a danger with bureaucracy. Srila Prabhupada's own spiritual master, Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, said, there's never been an institution that has not destroyed the spirit of a religion. That's heavy, isn't it? He said, never in history has there been an institution. And you see this. I mean, you look at any large religious institution, and you will see that basically there's too much bureaucracy, too much ritualism, and most of the people, they actually forget what the essence of the religion is. And they're doing things basically because it's their job or because they get some financial benefit out of it. I mean, there's so much corruption in religious institutions. Now, I'm not talking about this. Forgive me. And basically, it's interesting, if you study the formation of religions, there's the first stage where you have this charismatic, it's called a charismatic stage, where you have this really deep spiritual person. Every religion is like that, the Christian religion, whatever. And that person starts the religion, gets everybody enthusiastic. And then after a while, you get into the bureaucratic stage after the first generation. And people generally, yes, I would say roughly 80-90% of the people in the bureaucratic stage, they actually are not actually essentially connected like the people in the first stage. Because I was in the first stage with Prabhupada, and everything was focused on being Krishna conscious, and it was spontaneous. And of course, we followed a few rules. We didn't eat meat. We didn't take intoxication, or we didn't have illicit sex or gambling. But as far as everything else, it was a free-for-all. And it was fun. A lot of fun. You know, we'd travel all around preaching, distributing Srila Prabhupada's books. We didn't care what anyone thought about us. We weren't concerned about legalities. It's just, you know, just having a good time. I remember going and distributing books in the southern part of the United States where people are very conservative. And we'd sneak around distributing books. And the police would come out and point their guns at us, you know, really heavy stuff. The southern United States, you know, you hear about this. They're called rednecks, you ever heard that expression? And then they say, if you know what's good for you, you better get out of town, buddy. Like one of these old cowboy movies. Anyway, and so we would be just driven out of a particular state in the United States. And other times, you know, really, it was fun. And then other times we go into the university dormitories and sneak around, go into the rooms, preach to people. Half the people were intoxicated, marijuana smoke was everywhere. And yeah, it was fun, but we were all dedicated to Prabhupada and Prabhupada's mission. And, you know, there wasn't so much organization at that time because there wasn't any money to be organized. I remember when I first came to Krishna consciousness, they made me the treasurer. And we had about $5 in the bank account, so it was easy. It was easy to be the accountant at that particular So, I mean, that was the movement. And that's what I enjoy too. All this bureaucracy, you know, checklists and everything like that, and then people in charge, and you have, you know, sometimes you hear, even within this kind especially, that you have to have an authority. And so, and that's pretty heavy because actually, at least myself, I'm an adult. I hope so, after all these years. Nobody's checked my age yet. So, so basically, you hear these things, you gotta work under someone else, have an authority. And this is something that can really deter or interfere with the spirit. Like Prabhupada said, we want to have voluntary spirit of devotion. And just to be controlled by someone, what that does is that it really hurts your self-esteem if you're controlled by someone. And just even the word authority, what's the word in Croatian for authority?
Autoritet.
Autoridad.
Yes,
Very
authorities,
close.
yes.
Really?
Yes.
Pronunciation was over. So, I mean, it's a scary word, isn't it? I mean, if I tell any of you, you have to have an authority. Someone who controls you, someone who has a webcam in your... Not quite that. I mean, I'm just exaggerating, obviously. And report to someone. It's like joining the army, but you never get out. You understand? At least you spend a year or two in the army, you know, you get out. You're a free man after that. So institutions tend to do that to you. And I think ISKCON is no different because it's a dynamic or something that occurs in every institution. So the question is how to avoid being institutionalized. You know, this institution and institutionalized, you know, just becoming like a cog in the machine or a pawn on the chessboard or something like that. One has to, first of all, develop in oneself a personal relationship with Srila Prabhupada, which is very interesting because the movement, the Hare Krishna movement, is based upon serving Prabhupada. Now, of course, the topic I talk about all the time. Many of the people who come to our society do not actually understand Prabhupada. I would say the majority. For example, there's many biographies of Srila Prabhupada, And very few people read his biographies. I'm not going to do a poll here, see who has read his biographies. I mean, everyone's read Bhagavad Gita. You know, you all know how to chant Hare Krishna, obviously. But as far as understanding the details of Prabhupada's life, because if one develops a personal relationship, how do you develop if one develops a personal relationship with Prabhupada, then you can become aloof from the institutional dynamics and still cooperate with the institution. Just like myself. I cooperate because I know it's a vehicle that Prabhupada wanted to be practical to spread Krishna consciousness all over the world. At the same time, I do see the corruption. Believe me, I'm not corrupt. I don't know. Anyway, I do see the corruption, I do see the struggles and the problems that people have, and I do see the bureaucracy. I see all those things. You can't be blind. You can't be blind to these things. I do see the over-control that people are doing. But at the same time, my real connection is not with the institution, although I'm serving the institution because it's Prabhupada's vehicle. But the real connection is with Prabhupada. And so what I do as a disciple of Prabhupada, and it would be nice if everybody could come to that frame. They don't have to be direct disciple of Prabhupada, because everybody can have that relationship. I was just thinking about this morning. Like, you talk about the Catholic Church, for example. They hear and talk a lot about Jesus Christ, isn't it? You talk about, the Sermon on the Mount, all these different aspects of his life. Of course, crucifixion, they talk too much about. Because Prabhupada basically didn't like to think about the crucifixion. You don't want to think about how your guru passed away from this world. You want to think about what he did when he was in this world. Prabhupada saw a cross one time, and he said, it's horrible they're just meditating on this. The death of Jesus Christ. They should meditate on what he did. So because they talk so much about Lord Jesus, people develop a personal relationship, isn't it? They feel very connected to him. And I don't think that's done enough in the society of devotees talking about Prabhupada, because Prabhupada is our savior. Prabhupada did come from the spiritual world, wasn't just appointed by Lord Nityananda to spread Krishna consciousness around the world, but he descended. He's called Shaktavesha Avatar. Shaktavesha Avatar means a person, what's called a jiva soul, regular soul, who is appointed to come down from the spiritual world to teach or to create a revolution in the misdirected lives, a spiritual revolution in the misdirected lives of an impious civilization. So, therefore, he's the person we should be thinking about and pleasing. And in my life, when I make decisions, make a decision to come here or go there, I think about what would Prabhupada want? Would he want me to do this or not do this? So I came here to see the devotees because I like you all. That's one reason. But another reason is this is what Prabhupada wanted. Even though, there may have been some people in the institution who wasn't ecstatic about my coming here. I wasn't stopped, but just like, not so ecstatic. Anyway, a little less ecstatic. So because I just do what Prabhupada wanted. And that's based on a personal relationship. And to have a personal relationship, you need to know the person, right? If you don't know the person, sure, you read Prabhupada's books, but you don't get to know him by reading his books. You get to know about Krishna, you get to know about the process of Krishna consciousness, but you don't get to know Prabhupada as a person. Prabhupada is he's a real person. As a person, I mean, not simply that he's only repeating the words of Krishna, but he has his own personality. You know, each devotee has their own personality. They're not simply mobile phones that are receiving some information from somewhere else, or a radio that's receiving sound vibration from somewhere else. They have their likes, their dislikes. And so we understand Prabhupada as a person. And as a person, he has personal characteristics. And but at the same time, we don't want to imitate him, because we have our own personal characteristics. It's interesting. Like sometimes, on the other hand, you find people who want to imitate Prabhupada, and so they have to like the same type of food that Prabhupada likes. Isn't it? And, you know, like, for example, Prabhupada said he really liked potatoes. I don't. Sorry about that. I mean, I like sauerkraut. But probably if you'd given Prabhupada sauerkraut, he would have said, "What is this? Rotten cabbage?" Isn't it?
Yes.
But, you know, my family's from Europe, so, you know, I like sauerkraut and, you know, all these things. So he's a person. That's what I mean. He's a person. You know, I'm not disagreeing with Prabhupada. At the same time, I'm seeing his personal characteristics and his devotion and his whole life. For example, like Prabhupada tried his whole life, I mentioned before, trying to make money, trying to raise his family. You know, he had children and a wife, obviously. And you can hear how Prabhupada, focused on the mission of his spiritual master, was impeded or stopped by his wife, by his business, and even by his godbrothers. Interesting. You know, so many impediments. Like his wife was so nasty that when Prabhupada invited guests over to talk to about Krishna, she would take a feather duster and blow dust in their faces. You know, imagine a wife like that. You know what a feather duster is?
Yeah.
It's a manual vacuum cleaner. You know, now they have machines for everything. But previously it was just, you know, blowing the dust around. So, you know, and she sold his Bhagavatams, everybody knows this, for tea biscuits. I mean, amazing. Imagine if someone was married like that. And Prabhupada, eventually he said, "This is not going to work." He said to his wife, "Do you want tea or me?" And she said, "I'd rather have tea than you." And Prabhupada left. I mean, just hearing these stories shows Prabhupada's determination to please his spiritual master. Perfect example for us. And, you know, so many stories of determination, getting gored by a bull, and continuing to preach Krishna consciousness without any resources. So I can go on and on about Prabhupada's life and determination. But you hear about these things, then the picture or the personality develops. And the interesting thing about spiritual personalities, they're not based upon the modes of nature. Everybody in this world who's not spiritual, their consciousness, their words, their actions are all coming from these three modes of nature: goodness, passion, and ignorance. And it's all temporary. Very, very temporary. You know, whoever we are in this lifetime, we're not going to be the same person in the next lifetime. And of course, if you're Krishna conscious, yeah, depending on the degree of your Krishna consciousness, that will continue. But Srila Prabhupada, completely honest, what you see is what you get, and he is what you see. And if you think of Prabhupada, he's present. That's the difference with a spiritual personality. Just like we have a deity of Srila Prabhupada in the altar. So Prabhupada's presence is manifest through the deity. And those of us who are connected with Prabhupada, we can approach the deity and see whether Prabhupada is smiling at us or he's angry. I think he also gets angry with me a lot. But, you know, he chastises. "You rascal. I mean, like one time, I'll give you an example. One time, I was thinking, things are so difficult in this world, let me just go to Govardhan and just chant and forget about everybody. There's this saying, goodbye, cruel world. Anyone's heard that before? So I was thinking, And then Prabhupada chastised me. He said, you rascal, you're supposed to serve me, not try to escape from the bureaucracy of ISKCON. Talking about the bureaucracy of ISKCON. So when one develops a personal relationship with this great personality, and then it's reciprocal 24 hours a day. So then, to answer your question, which I've been doing, one understands how to deal with the institution without getting institutionalized. Because then you have this personal relationship, and you have that sense of judgment based upon the personal relationship, which I have. I mean, if it wasn't for Prabhupada, just having to deal with all these things in the institution, I'd become pretty independent. I am independent right now, but because of Prabhupada, because I'm not an institutional person. I mean, find people who are. We have this thing called Varnashram. Varnashram, someone's heard of that before. Brahmins, the Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, Shudras, Brahmins tend to be really independent. There's not really into institutions at all. And I happen to be mostly a Brahmin. Some other stuff mixed in. So, and then Kshatriyas and Vaishyas are more controlling, because you find Kshatriyas, the Ishvara Bhava, they have this mentality of controlling. And Vaishyas also are controlled. And Vaishnavas like to manipulate things, bureaucracy. Basically, Vaishnavas are more into bureaucracy, like controlling, bookkeeping. Forgive me if someone's a bookkeeper here or an accountant, but Vaishyas are more into that. Money, acquiring things. And Shudras are more into working with their hands. So definitely as ISKCON goes on, it will become more of a Kshatriya Vaishya organization. As the same thing as the Catholic Church, actually. More or less Kshatriya. And you have sometimes like someone who's Brahminical at the top, but he can't do anything because you have this whole hierarchy there. So there's like, Pope Francis tried to change so many things, but you have the whole papal hierarchy. And sometimes in the Catholic Church you find a Pope that's killed because he won't cooperate, isn't it? Mm-hmm. There's a history like that. So fortunately we haven't gotten that far right now. They haven't taken a contract on my life yet. Anyway, so I'm not the Pope either. So thank God. So yes, that's the point. Mainly that's there's this stage in the evolution of an organization where it's Kshatriya Vaishya. Hopefully not Shudra. That you don't want. And so the Brahmanas, they have to make their way around with their connection to Krishna, with the spiritual master, and they can balance things. Does that explain everything?
Yes.
It's a difficult question, and I answer without getting in trouble.
But also it gives hope, the way you explain it, because connecting with Prabhupada is also serving ISKCON by maybe being critical thinking about and referencing Prabhupada. Because some of the challenges is like your opinion doesn't matter as a member, and then you lose trust if you can distinguish what is good or wrong, right?
That's right.
But if you have a Prabhupada as a reference, that can strengthen you.
Yeah, there's two things that can happen in an authoritative structure, two authoritative structure. One is you lose trust in yourself, not just in the structure. And the other one is you become super rebellious. These are the two extremes. And we can avoid that by having, first of all, loving ourselves and trusting our own judgment too. You know, you're an adult, you shouldn't be treated like a 5-year-old kid. So trusting, you know I have a relationship with Prabhupada. And not only that, it means I trust my judgment. I trust it, you know, and I like myself. Another thing that happens in an institution is the people start to denigrate themselves. I mean, think less of themselves, have low self-esteem. You know, you're just a materialistic rascal. You know, when I was a young devotee, I got told one time, everybody else is not their body, you are their body, your body. You know, you're hopeless, you're useless, you're stupid, you know, all these nice words. And what that does is just like destroy your own sense of self-esteem and enthusiasm and voluntary spirit of cooperation. But our movement is meant for voluntary spirit of cooperation. That's the business of the leaders. Yes, Sundar, you have a question.
I was thinking that because we can see through it's not long, but it's sufficient that we can analyze different stages in ISKCON.
Yes.
It's 50, 60 years, but it's sufficient time to recognize some checkpoints what would be issues. And I appreciate very much that you pointed out this concept of establishing relationship with Prabhupada. But I saw also that we have different understandings of Prabhupada, because it can be, Prabhupada can be understood to the point of view of the, how it's called in English, personality cult.
Yeah.
And the strongest followers of Prabhupada, so to say, in ISKCON, are those who are actually superficially follow Prabhupada. That means it seems that there is a lack of spiritual understanding of Guru Tattva itself.
Right.
Because I guess everyone falls in love with Prabhupada in different aspects of Prabhupada.
Right.
But if we follow Prabhupada just from one side, not as a whole, then it becomes a cause of so many frictions and conflicts, even in the institution of followers of Prabhupada.
Yeah, actually, it's a good point. It's important to try to understand the mood of Srila Prabhupada, the intention. Just like we find about Rupa Goswami, you know, this statement, Shri Rupa Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadavayam Vedati Swa Padantikam. That Rupa Goswami understood the mind or intention. So I'm not talking about studying Prabhupada superficially or imitating Prabhupada or taking, you know, there's a common thing, taking certain statements of Prabhupada out of context to justify one's own, you know, agenda.
Yeah.
And this is generally what happens. You know, they use Prabhupada as a tool to accomplish what they want to accomplish. And how to avoid that? I think we need to, again, let everybody develop their own relationship with Prabhupada. Not that you accept my relationship or my understanding of Prabhupada, but the more you approach him, just like you see the real early devotees who had a lot of personal interaction with Prabhupada, they're not that fanatic. I mean, the real early, you talk about, you know, people like Brahmananda, people there who were there at 26 Second Avenue. But it's the later followers, when Prabhupada was present, who actually were accustomed to that dynamic of taking things out of context and not really seeing Prabhupada as a person. That was the point I'm making. Prabhupada's a person. And then you basically have to approach Prabhupada, there's a big word, hermeneutically.
How?
Hermeneutically.
Okay.
That means understanding the context. Like hermeneutics basically means generally to understand Shastra and how to apply Shastra. And when to see that Prabhupada's actions were absolute, and when to see that Prabhupada's actions were based upon certain circumstances, and when to see that Prabhupada's actions were based upon his own personal, let's say, tastes. Like I mentioned, food, like that. So you do have Prabhupada fanatics. There's the phone. You do have Prabhupada fanatics who take things out of context or for their own purposes. So that's why I feel that everybody should develop their own relationship and not accept someone else's relationship, which is really important. But if you accept someone else's or interpretation, that's your problem. I'm encouraging individuality, which goes against the institutional brain. But you'll find that when you encourage individuality, there's more enthusiasm and more cooperation and more empowerment. And when you encourage the bureaucracy, there's less enthusiasm, less encouragement and whatever, So yeah, to answer your question, everyone develops their own relationship. And your relationship is not the same as my relationship, your understanding of Prabhupada. And of course, talking about Varnashram again, you will have Shudras who will misunderstand Prabhupada. Because there is Varnashram. I mean, there are a lot of people, perhaps the majority of people, who are not capable of thinking for themselves. That's life. But we want, in our society, we want to have people who are independent, thoughtful. Prabhupada said in the Bhagavad Gita, blind following and absurd inquiries are condemned. So we need to develop that individual spirit. As myself as a leader, that's what I'm doing. I'm encouraging that. But read about Prabhupada, and you come to your own conclusions. That's all. But don't imitate Prabhupada. You caution people, don't imitate Prabhupada. And don't think that everything he did is absolute. He's a person. That was the point of that. He's an individual person with individual tastes. When he presents Shastra, yeah, that's an absolute platform. But apart from that, he's presenting his opinion about things, I mean, here's a funny story. One time, I think it was Brahmananda. Yeah, it was Brahmananda who'd gone to India before. And he told Prabhupada that he had a girlfriend in India. And Prabhupada said, yeah. And he said, I could show you the picture. And so he showed Prabhupada the picture of this girl. And Prabhupada said, oh, she's not so pretty. So Brahmananda lost interest in his girlfriend at that point.
Oh my God.
So don't ask me about your wife. So, it's not an absolute. So you have to be able to see, Prabhupada is a person. Again, I get a person. When he had a dream of his spiritual master telling him to take sannyas, Prabhupada said he was horrified. So that's a person. That's not just a robot. Generally we have this robot, people wanted to pick Prabhupada as robot. And that's authoritative type of stuff. Imitative, authoritative. But Prabhupada's a real person, just like, and have a relationship. I mean, just like you have a relationship with your mother and your father, and they're persons. And that's why you love them, because they're real persons. Sometimes people say about me, this is another topic. You know, they praise me, they say, hey, you're a real person. I said, yeah. Thank you for discovering that. So, because in an institution, or where one has a particular role, you know, sannyasi, you put on these, what's called facades or masks. And you tend to believe that you are that mask after a while. So this is another problem with institutions. You know, sannyasi, and this and that. But really, you have to get over that, overcome that illusion that you are that position. It's called an upadhi in Sanskrit, a designation. You know, like man, woman, and people. That's another problem that happens in an institution. You get too much into the smarta conceptions. Smarta, I'll define that for you. Smarta means ritualistic conceptions. Just like right now, in ISKCON, there's this whole discussion, can ladies become gurus? I'm sure you've heard this discussion before. And people are pulling out obscure quotes from Vedic literatures that have no connection with anything, any reality in this world. And because it says in this rule, this detail, that detail, women can't become gurus. It's probably because they want to subjugate women anyway. Everyone has a motive in doing things. So, that's a danger in religious institutions. You become not only solidified in the bureaucracy, but solidified in terms of the rituals. And you become ritualistic. And I've seen that happen in ISKCON too. I mean, so many different procedures, which I don't follow, that you're supposed to follow. I just want to chant Hare Krishna, be happy, talk about Krishna, talk about Prabhupada, and don't ask me to do anything else. You know, all these different procedures, checklists, and assessments, everything like that. So, anyway, I think again the solution is everyone individually develops that relationship with Prabhupada and gets to know. I mean, you find in Christianity generally, people do develop that individual relationship. And in general, those who are more Brahminically inclined in Christianity are more independent-minded. And the leaders are like that, certainly. Like again, Pope Francis was like that. You know, independent-minded, he didn't go along with everything. So those are more Brahminical people. Those who are Shudras, yeah, maybe they need some master. I don't need a master. Prabhupada is my spiritual master. And, you know, these are dog collars that I'm wearing here. But I'm following him very voluntarily with love. It's not, I don't feel I have to follow Prabhupada. Like, this is an expression you hear oftentimes. You have to do this. You have to listen. No, I do this because I love someone. And this is Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is based on love. It's not based upon discipline. It's based on love. And then you discipline yourself. I'm doing this to please the person who I love. Does that make sense? Yeah.
I would like to ask you a question to develop our personal relationship with Prabhupada, spiritual person,
Yeah.
Acharya. But if we overskip to develop healthy relationship with the bhaktas in our
That's
society,
right.
what is the...
Well, I think you can't disconnect them. Because what pleases Prabhupada is a healthy relationship with each other. I mean, you'll find in Prabhupada's, there's one book called The Nectar of Instruction. It's called Upadeshamrita in Sanskrit. Prabhupada says, this is what Dadati pratigranati guyamakyati prachati bhunte bhojyate chaga. The loving relationships between the devotees, and there's some examples given, like giving prasadam, revealing the mind, making friendship, giving gifts, etc., like that. this is what is the impetus or the cause, let's say, of expanding the Krishna consciousness movement. So Prabhupada is very specific about that. So when we're talking about developing a relationship with Prabhupada, it's connected to everything else. Like, what would please Prabhupada? And it also has to be done from the heart. I mean, just like right now, I'm thinking, I like all of you, but not simply because it pleases Prabhupada, but because I do. And that's the point. If you act in a way to connect with Prabhupada, then the other qualities develop. What is that? Yasha Devi Parabhakti Rita Devi Tata Guru. One has faith in the Acharya, faith in Vedic literatures, then qualities, good qualities develop. And one of them is having loving relationships with the devotees. Not just I have a relationship with Prabhupada, but part of that, connected with that relationship, is a relationship with the devotees. And everybody, not just devotees. A good question. So any other questions? Our time here is short, actually. But, yeah.
I just wanted to reflect how you emphasize Prabhupada as a person, and in my head it's increased the appreciation of what Prabhupada did, because of this. It didn't decrease like always, but it increased because it's now you can see this person what he did is human.
His personal desires, personal choice. A person can choose to do something or not to do something. He's not a robot. He's not, I don't know if you know about Elon Musk's robots. Unfortunately. He has these, I forget what they're called. They do everything. They dance, they chant. No, they don't chant. But anyway, they do everything. And eventually, most people's jobs will be finished. It's called redundancy. Because they're going to be doctors, they're going to be accountants. My job is secure. The rest of you be out of work. So, Prabhupada was not just a robot who's controlled by Krishna. We're talking about how Prabhupada was horrified when his spiritual master told him to take sannyas in a dream. That's not a robot. It's not a robot. That's someone who has a reciprocal, loving relationship with his guru. And there's many instances of that Prabhupada dealing with his disciples in a similar way. So, the more we hear about that, it becomes personal. Generally, people's relationship now is impersonal with Prabhupada. He's on the altar, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. It's just like, it's almost like a cult. Like the Prabhupada cult, isn't it? And anyway, that's the Shudra mentality. Brahminical mentality is you do things from the heart because you really want to do them. I often tell people, unless you really do something from the heart, unless you actually want to do it, don't do it. Don't do it. You really have to feel, Bhakti, I really want to do this. I mean, it's like people I mentioned the other day in class. People work a job for so many years that they hate just to make money. Can you imagine that? Working 50 years just to make money and you hate the job? Pick a job you like and make less money. Isn't it? Everybody has a psychophysical nature. Pick something else you like. You can't live your whole life being miserable like a slave. They call that wage slave. You ever heard that expression before? A wage slave. Yeah, you have to make money, but be happy. Do something you really like to do. And so in Krishna consciousness, do something you like to do for Krishna. In emergency, of course, you can do anything. I mean, just like one time, I built a temple with my hands, designed, built a temple. That's not my nature. But And I couldn't do it my whole life. I mean, there's many Krishna conscious things that I couldn't do long term. I could do short term. Like if you asked me to become a pujari, for example, I can do it. Ask me to do an arti, but if that's my service, whole service, and that's your life, and you can't go and speak, and you can't do anything, I said, forget it. Forget it. You know, I go crazy. And so psychophysical nature is very important. But anyway, psychophysical nature, and you do things voluntarily from your heart to please Krishna, Guru, Prabhupada. Then you'll be happy. And that's what I'm doing. No one's forcing me to be here. I'm doing this for Prabhupada, for Guru, and for yourselves. You know, like you said, relationship with everybody. I really love the devotees. And so, yeah, like I know Sundarananda here for so many years. And you know, I really love him. In a nice way. You know, people use the word love sometimes. You know, it's great. He's one of my favorite devotees all the time. Yeah, and you're fortunate to have him here. But it's just, you know, that he asked me to come, I felt, you know, because of love. It's not just Prabhupada, you know, came there. I'm here. But also, you know, I decided not to stay here the whole day, you know, because I have to consider my own situation. I'm giving a lecture in Ljubljana tonight, this afternoon.
After.
Yeah, this afternoon. And then, you know, also I have to take care of my health. I have to eat my lunch at 12 o'clock, there's a specific diet. So I'm not only just like fanatic Hare Krishna. I'm thinking about my health. You know, I may need to take rest after I take prasadam, like that. I may want to take a walk in the park. So I have to balance things. So you love yourself too. You know, we often say you should love every living entity, but you're one of the living entities. Isn't it? So love yourself, take care of yourself. And if someone tries to control you, just become rebellious.
Joy.
Yeah. But don't do that with your husband. You should be submissive, never talk back, whatever you want.
Master.
Yeah, master. Yeah, Prabhu, master, you know. Your wish is my desire. So, but basically we have to learn how to be a little rebellious, because this is one thing I teach about. We have a need for autonomy, making our own decisions in life, to be fully developed as human beings, as devotees. Interesting topic.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
In Bhakti 2007, there was one article about Bir Krishna Swami.
Uh-oh.
Your Holiness is Bir Krishna Goswami.
Right.
Does that person exist, Bir Krishna Swami? Because he also preached in Hawaii.
Hawaii. Yeah. That's me, same person.
Same person.
Same person.
Ah.
Same person.
Okay.
Sometimes they call me Swami, sometimes they call me Goswami.
Oh, thank you. I was doubting all the time.
Yeah, I'm the same person. Hawaii, Australia, New Zealand, different places in Europe. Not China yet.
Because you have a turban, you know, on that picture, you have turban, and you were speaking in the article about the potency of the Mahamantra, regardless of tune, melody.
Yes, that was me. The speech was me. I don't know about the turban. That must have been AI or something. I don't ever remember wearing a turban. Some sannyasis do, but I don't remember that. Yeah, that was me.
But you were much younger than today.
Oh yeah, that happens. That's part of life, you know, like 2007, I was definitely a lot younger. When I joined the movement, 71, I was very young. You know this? Komaram Javanam Jara, isn't it? As Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the soul passes. Yeah, I mean, sometimes I look in the mirror and say, what happened to that young guy? He's disappeared. But, you know, it's part of life, but the heart and the soul, they're saying, you know, is connected with Prabhupada. Yeah, I've always been very much connected with Prabhupada. And as I explained to the devotees yesterday, if anyone knows anything about astrology, anyone know anything about astrology? No.
No.
You do? Vedic astrology. I have Jupiter and Lagna. You know what that means? No.
Teacher.
Jupiter means guru.
Teacher.
Yeah, Jupiter means guru. Lagna is a rising sign, you know, and it's in its own house too.
Mm.
So that means really tight connection with guru. So anyway, that's basically an analysis of my horoscope. If you want more, you just ask AI. It's the best astrologer. You just have to say Vedic astrology, here's the date, time, place, and it'll give you a full readout better than anybody in India.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it's for sure. See, AI ki jai. So we use all these tools in Krishna service. You know, I remember I was one of the first ones to employ the computer in ISKCON. Actually, I was the first one to have a mobile phone, first one to have a computer, and all the devotees criticized me for it. Especially the time when my bead bag rang during the GBC meeting. I was sitting there and all of a sudden I had the mobile phone was about this big. So we had to have the devotees make a bead bag that big. So in the middle of the GBC meeting, it starts ringing. They say, "You are crazy. Carrying your phone around with you? Computer?" And now, whatever. So you just have to be a little aloof from other people's opinions. And then you can move ahead and use things for Christian service. So I use AI all the time for Christian service.
Maybe that will also be a good lecture if you already haven't given AI in Krishna service.
Yeah. I spoke a little bit about it yesterday too. I have AI music I've done in Krishna service. What I'm talking about today is not from AI, it's from me. It's more spontaneous because I didn't know what people were going to ask me about. So I think we're going to have to get going back. Yeah.
Maybe. Thank you so much. Some practical advice for us who are not there with Prabhupada, like, of course, to read about Prabhupada, but
Yeah.
your advice, what to do to enhance and keep it rich.
I think just read a lot of Prabhupada's biographies.
Mm-hmm.
Because the majority of Prabhupada's disciples didn't have much association with Prabhupada. I mean, even Prabhupada, he had, a handful of times he met his spiritual master. And he got specific instructions, like about distributing books and everything like that. But it's a question of knowing the person, internalizing the person, not just like the words, but internalizing, understanding his personality and mood. That's really, it was after Prabhupada left that I was able to deepen even more my relationship with Prabhupada. It's not that it reached a static point and then Prabhupada left the planet, but it's gotten deeper and deeper and deeper as I hopefully advance in Krishna consciousness and get to know more about Prabhupada's mood and compassion. Especially, which is a verse I quote all the time in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, hearing about which I said before, how the Panchatattva broke open the storehouse of love of God. I'm finally beginning to understand what that means. Took me a long time. Broke open means freely, everybody, men, women, children, everybody dancing and chanting and serving Krishna. And no restrictions. And that was Prabhupada's spiritual master's mood too. He told the devotees who were preaching in Europe, when they said that nobody wants to become a vegetarian, he said, then feed them meat. I'm not saying we should eat meat, but his mood was, do whatever is necessary. It doesn't matter how you dress, it doesn't matter, where you come from, how educated you are. Do what's necessary. It's an emergency. That, like if someone's house is on fire, it's an emergency. You can't say, I can't save the person because I'm not a trained fireman. That's stupid. There's a baby burning to death, and you have the ability to go in and save and bring the baby out. You do it. It's an emergency. The world is an emergency situation. Not just now, it's always been. People are losing their opportunity for a human birth. Next life, cockroaches or whatever, or pigs or whatever. You have a big pig industry here in Croatia?
I think so.
Yeah, I heard that. So whatever, cows, pigs, whatever. And so, so you have people, you have a responsibility to give people, if you don't help someone who's in danger, and everyone's in danger, then you're irresponsible. You're just as responsible for them deviating as they are. Yeah, if you don't help someone, and you have the ability to help them. You have to remember that. And so you can't impose all these institutional restrictions on that. So dress in any way, practical, at least wear clothes. But Prabhupada, he went into a nudist colony to preach. He wore clothes, obviously. Can you imagine? So tolerant. One time I didn't go to the nudist colony. One time I went into this thing, this festival called Rainbow Festival. Have you ever heard of it? Yes. And half the people were wearing clothes. I couldn't tolerate it because it was so smelly. I don't know if you've ever been to one of these festivals. They're really bad. First you go into the festival, and this guy without any clothes on says, "Welcome home, brother." And I'm thinking, if this is home,
I'm homeless.
I'd rather be homeless. Welcome home, brother. And it's just like, I lasted there about 24 hours. I said, get me out of here. But he had other devotees who actually stayed there and preached and made devotees. So to me, frankly, I couldn't tolerate it. But Prabhupada tolerated so many things. And so, anyway, so we have to be honest. So we're inspired by Prabhupada's toleration. Dealing with people who were like that. Going into a nudist colony. Can you imagine? And one of the people that Prabhupada discovered in the nudist colony became one of the great devotees in the Hare Krishna movement. He was living inside a tree in the nudist colony.
Yeah.
You know the story, yeah?
Yeah, few of them I heard.
Yeah, a few of them.
I heard only one.
Like 3 of them.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, don't mention their names.
Yeah.
And so they were living in the tree, and then they became, at least one of them became a very big preacher, and someone who's able to open up China to Krishna consciousness and do so much amazing austerities. So, because of Prabhupada's tolerance, that's a quality. You can list the qualities of Prabhupada that you admire. I do not have so much tolerance like that. There's a limit. Yeah.
You just mentioned this about meat industry in Croatia. We have one small city near Zagreb called
Yeah.
It is meat industry.
Yeah.
And during the Prabhupada Marathon, we distributed so much books in this small city.
That's good.
Every year, it's the best place, you know. We all want to go just to this city. Because it's a special place for distribute so much books was going on, you know, in this.
That's fantastic. You know, that's the compassion of the devotees. One of my dear godbrothers, Jayananda, he would go into the bars and preach to people. You know, the alcohol bars. And they all loved him. They called him Johnny Ananda. Johnny Ananda. I think we have to get going now, right? So anyway, thank you very much. I'm happy to be here with all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, and hopefully next time I can spend longer.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. You know, if anyone's interested, anything, you're all welcome to write to me on WhatsApp. Not email, WhatsApp. And I can correspond and answer questions and everything like that. Okay. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. What's that? Oh, okay. Nice program. Oh, thank you. It's very kind. Haribol. Good to see you again. Hare Krishna. Oh, thank you very much. You doing all right?
Okay.
Good.
How are you?
I'm fine. Doing very well.
Your health?
Health is very good. Oh, thank you very much. Very, very good health. I'm following a very special diet, a ketogenic diet.
I know.
You know about that.
Can you give me an envelope, please?
What's that?
Can you give me an envelope?
Envelope?
Put some more.
Is that your envelope? Which one is it? Here. So I'm following the ketogenic diet. It's been very good for my health. Very, very good. And yeah, I feel great. Feel great. I mean, no problems at all. No health problems at all. And I exercise every day, and you know, yeah.
Nice to see, nice to hear this, because
Many older people have problems. Many of the devotees have
and
problems.
also many gurus.
Have health problems.
Yeah.
I don't.
Because my guru
Thank you.
also have Smita Krishna Swami.
Yes, me too. I know about that. He has Parkinson's or something.
Yeah. We have his Vyasa Puja next weekend in here in Croatia.
Or you can have it here in Croatia.
Yeah.
Is he coming or?
He already is in Lika.
Oh, he's in Liga right now.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah,
We go
please,
there next weekend.
please say hello to him for me. You know, I love him very much. He's very good to me. I was just in Almixgard, which is where his house is, and I didn't see him there, so I guess he was here.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good to see you. Good to see you again. Haribol. Oh, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Where are you staying now?
At one house I'm doing repairing of the house.
You're repairing a house.
I have been repairing it for the last 10 months.
Really?
It's a great job and I have muscles.
Your health is good now? Or?
Well, it's the same as previous times, but I am mentally better. Yeah.
Mentally well.
And I suppose I can clearly say I figure out that I'm matured now.
Yeah.
So I'm in connection with myself much better. And I I think that it's very important because I can now communicate myself better to you and the others.
Right.
Because in the last 10 years, it took me a lot of time to understand some things, so much challenges regarding this temple and all these situations. But I can write down my thoughts and my conceptions and understandings.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I can really say that I'm much more stable because it was too much. So I couldn't communicate this to myself also.
So maybe Krishna arranged all these things to help you mature.
Yeah, it's not easy to accept this.
Yeah.
For me.
Krishna does that.
Yes, I can understand intellectually, but emotionally it's hard.
It's hard.
It's painful.
Yeah. All right, it's good to see you anyway.
Thank you.
Anyway, keep in touch. I haven't heard from you in a long time.
That's my maturity. That's my maturity.
Yeah, I like to hear from you.
Yeah, what's going on? I write down some thoughts because I want to be perfect, but it's the same. Now I can recognize it's all my maturity.
Don't be perfect.
No maturity.
Yeah. Krishna loves you with whatever faults you have.
Yeah, this is actually a great law because I want to present myself in a perfect manner. But actually, this stops communication. So it's
Yeah. Just realize I'm imperfect. Krishna will love me in a good way.
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you. Okay.
So good.
From the heart.
From the heart.
It's better. You don't want to take your time to join you in Ljubljana.
Oh, you're going to have to look at this. Okay. Hello.
Mislim, razlike neke, nećemo opet buntovno, da je to osoba koju možeš pričati, koja će te, baš kao osobu ćete se gledati, a ne neko po špranci ono da daš ne idem dalje, ali glumi se svidio, to želim reći, diplomata, kao diplomata, da kažemo. Joj, dobri moji učeni. Kaj je tvoja supruga radila oštre strogosti da dobije takvoga supruga čovječe, to je... Stvarno si veliki jogi. Kaj se ga zezam?
Nisam da ne govorim.
Ne.
Naputke da je sve popravljeno i da sve treba pisati tako. Da ja to pročitam, dam svoje neko.
Nije, pravni akt je zadovoljen.
Ne možeš ti znaš to kad se odluči. Zirana, to je sve dobro. Zato nekad teško se tvoje crkve.
Ne, ali možeš, gledaj, u mom slučaju ja to mogu, ja shvatam kako možeš s njim, možeš pravo, s njihovom. Oni su to imali napravili, znači oni to je 2 tjedna, napravili su mi to objavljivanje i druga moja finta bila htjela me poslati u grad Križevci da nam nešto napravili. Ja sam mu rekao, kad ja to gledam sam, budete mi nevoljno vezi za ovu tu instituciju. I odem tam, nešto neka bude ovoga. Što ću ja lagati? Gdje sam ja bio? Dajte meni sad idemo, ja kad ti si ovaj poslodavac, ja idem kam ti ne došlo šalješ ovoga, idem si ja sad skupit svoje stvari, a ti sam ovdje do kancelarije napiši odluku, da ja imam to što je. I onda se retorika, znaš, malo okrene. Ali to je on taj sindikat, što reći SHU, sindikat Hrvatskih učitelja. Nema to baš tako reći, to posvećeni osobe kao sebe. Ne, okej. Pokušaj da biti šalju. Hoće. A da se ljudi ne uvrijede. Ja sam isto otišao malo slika, da vidim kje je bilo.